Hello everyone, I'm Amita Sharma. My today's video is on the topic of internal mobility and separation. In this video, I'll be talking about what exactly internal mobility is all about, what are transfers, promotions, demotions, and separations. Why, what are the reasons why the company they go for internal mobility? Along with this, we will be talking about the separations, what all are the different types of separations, types of promotions, transfers, etc. in detail. Now, what is internal mobility? Internal mobility simply talks about the movement of an employee vertically or horizontally within an organization. It takes place through vertically or horizontally. Vertically means through promotions, through demotions, and horizontal movement means transfers or sometimes job rotations. So, whenever in the organization the employees are moved vertically through promotions or demotions or horizontally through transfers in an organization, it is known as internal mobility. When we talk about separation, what is separation? Separation means when an employee they separate them from the organization. Like say for example, someone is leaving the organization because of their own growth prospects. Sometimes due to retirement, the people they leave the organization. Sometimes the organizations, due to so many reasons, organization terminates the employee. These all are the things that comes under separation. So that is all about internal mobility and separation. Now, what are the reasons why the companies they go for internal mobility? There are so many reasons why we usually go for it. The very first thing is to ensure the effectiveness of employee in the organization. It is very important that the employees who are working in the organization to maintain their effectiveness in the organization, you need to go for some kinds of promotions, some kinds of transfers to satisfy both employee and organizational needs. As we know that organizations they are hiring you with a particular purpose, employee working in the organization giving their best to the organization, to their work due to some reasons, because they are also having some needs. So to meet out both the needs, to satisfy them both, it is very important. Give them some hikes in terms of salary, better perks, better designation. It is very much needed to an employee. And then he is going to give such kind of result that is very much useful for the organizations as well. The third reason is to provide for career and succession planning. What is a succession planning? You know that for their career growth, for their future prospects also, it is very much important. Initially you are in the designation of executive, and after that you attain a position of a manager or a deputy manager, regional manager, then in that case it will be very much useful for your own career growth prospects. Along with that, it is very much important for the succession planning as well. When we talk about succession planning is always done at the executive level or the senior most level or the senior middle senior level in the organization. So succession planning, why it is being done, like whenever in the organization there is a certain senior most designations are there, so people they keep on leaving joining the organization. So because the senior most people they are actually are the visionaries, or we can say the planners or strategy makers. So in future if anyone in the senior position, they leave the organization, the system may get affected, and the new one will take a time in order to adjust with the system. So what the organization they do, they go for succession planning, in which whosoever is the senior most person who is having a very good past record and who is extremely good, and they believe that they can meet out that particular position or justify that particular position, then the organization they do such kind of planning to promote such kind of employees to meet out those positions as well. So such kind of planning is also been required, because that can be done only through promotions, that can actually be executed through promotions. Another reason is to ensure discipline and make organizational rewards contingent on employees' performance. It is very important to have a proper rules, regulations, or a proper system in the organization. And to maintain that particular discipline in the organization, they also need to keep such things in mind, that there should be a performance based appraisal should be there, through which if we need to reward someone, the particular employee should be given some promotions. If some kind of actions needs to be required, then in that case some kinds of demotions need to be given. Sometimes transfers is being given to some remote areas as well. So these things are basically creates the reasons why the company should go for the internal mobility. Now, what is promotion? Promotion is simply a vertical movement of an employee within the organization. It takes the form of movement from one job to another, and usually of higher status, perks, and responsibilities. Promotions may be temporary or permanent and may be with an increment or a salary, or it may not be. Now, when we talk about promotion, it is said to be a part of internal mobility. Promotion, by the word itself, it is a vertical movement of employee in the organization. Promotion is said to be a very good motivational factor for the employee to work in the organization. If the organizations they are filling up their vacancies in the organization by promotions, by some kind of transfers, then in that case it is said to be a very good model booster or motivational factor for the employees, because they get better package, better opportunities at the workplace itself, and it will lead to improvement in their performance. Right. So motivation, the promotion can be temporary or it can be permanent. And sometimes the promotions which we give to the employees, it can be with perks or salaries, or sometimes it is a dry promotions. So what are they? We'll study under the types of promotions. So there are mainly three types of promotions. First is horizontal promotion. Now what is a horizontal promotion? Horizontal promotion means when a particular employee is being promoted within the same job or within the same department to some another job, but within the same work profile, within the same department, it is said to have a horizontal promotion. Say, for example, there's no such change in terms of responsibilities. Like, say, for example, in we talk about assistant professor grades. Three grades are there: one, two, three. Now, with these three grades, if you are in the designation of assistant professor only, or you can take the example of a legal officer. Legal officer 1, 2 and 3 is there. Now, if someone from the 3 legal officer grade move to legal officer 2 within the same job profile, within the same department, will be considered as the horizontal promotion, within which you will be having the same kind of responsibility. There is no as such change in terms of your job profile. Along with that, in this kind of promotion, there is very limited increase in terms of salaries and some kind of perks, right? Here, why the word is used as horizontal, not vertical, because it is within the same department, within somewhere or the other related jobs. There's a very minor change in terms of the position. That's why we call it as horizontal promotion. Second is vertical promotion. Vertical promotion is something when a particular employee is moved to a senior most category job or a particular level or a particular main designation through which you can differentiate it. How you will differentiate it? We can differentiate it on the basis of responsibilities, on the basis of different kind of duties, salaries, perks. These are the things that differentiates them from their current designation to that particular designation. Say for example, you are in the position of executive, right? Then you move to a position of a manager. It is said to be a vertical promotion in which your position changes, in which your job roles, responsibilities, duties also changes. More responsibility will be given to you, more duties, different kinds of important duties are being given to you. Along with that, as per your designations, you are being given different better perks, salaries, benefits, etc. So these are said to be the vertical promotion. Then the third promotion is your dry promotion. Dry promotion is a kind of horizontal promotion, but without change in the salaries and increments or perks. It means that whenever in the organization some employee is being moved to a particular position which is somewhere or the other similar in terms of roles, responsibilities, and to fill out that particular position, we are giving you a grade of assistant professor grade only with 2 grade from third to 2 grade. Then in that case, we are not increasing your any salary, any package, any increment we are giving you, the salary, everything remains the same. Then this kind of promotion is said to be dry promotion. Because why it has been a promotion? Because here your designation is changing, although responsibilities, everything remains somewhere or the other same. And dry means when you are not getting anything in terms of money and anything extra in extra terms of money, like, because whatever the salary package you are getting prior with the previous designation, the same thing you will be getting here. There is no change in terms of salary, perks, etc. So these are the different types of promotions. Now, what are the purposes of promotion? Why the organization? What are the objectives for promotions? The very first objective is to recognize an employee's skill and knowledge and utilize it to improve the organizational effectiveness. Means through this particular promotional practices, the organizations they identify, analyze the skills and the knowledge level of the employees and improve them so that the organizations can complete or perform their work in a better manner. Promotion has also been given to employees to reward, to motivate the employees, because if you feel motivated, you feel rewarded, then in that case your productivity is again being shown in terms of the work that you are performing. So automatically, if the employee is highly motivated or appreciated, then in that case it will lead to good work and higher productivity. Promotion is another purpose of promotion is to develop a competitive spirit and inculcate the zeal in the employee to acquire skill and knowledge. Sometimes, when in the organization we are carrying a competitive environment, who will perform best, we'll give him this thing, and we'll be appreciating him like anything. right? This kind of environment will create a what we can say challenges and competitive environment at the workplace, and people they want to gain that particular position, right? And for gaining that position they want that what kind of skills that is required to be on that particular position, so they acquire knowledge and skills, and this will create zeal in themselves that they have to do something and they have to reach to that position. They also get that, they also want to get that particular kind of reward that is being taken by one of his colleague. So this kind of competitive spirit is very useful for the organizational growth. Promotion is also being given to promote the employee satisfaction and boost their morale. It builds loyalty among the employees towards the organization, because if your achievement, your work is being recognized by the organization, an organization is offering you good position, better work profile, better package, better duties, responsibilities, authorities, then in that case, you get emotionally connected with the organization. And once your loyalty is being developed with the organization, it will lead to employees retention at the workplace, and it is very good for the organization. To promote good human relations, promotion is also being done to maintain a better relation at the workplace. It increases the sense of belongingness and retains skills and talented employees. By doing all such things, if there is a employee satisfaction is there, loyalty is there, then automatically it will retain the skilled employee at the workplace, because the skilled and knowledgeable employees will get the opportunity of promotions. And the talented people, if they know that there is a good scope in their organization, the organization they recognize such kind of people, they give them a better platform, then in that case they be there in the organization. And most importantly, it attract the trained and competent and hardworking people. If organization is having such kind of system, then automatically it will encourage the fresh talent also from the market or from the competitor end to apply here in the organization. Now, what is transfer? A transfer is a change in the job of an employee without a change in the responsibilities or remuneration. It simply means that in a transfer, position doesn't change, only a change will take place in terms of the place. So, for example, someone is working in one branch of the bank and he has been shifted to another branch of the bank of some different location. It is said to be a transfer, in which there should not be change in terms of your designation. The job profile remains the same, the work remains the same, only a change will take place in terms of place. Here you are working in the Cannot place, and another you are working in the Karol Bagh branch. So this is the way how the transfer will take place. In certain cases, there should be some change in terms of your job assignment. Sometimes with transfer, the promotion is also being given. Say, for example, you are being transferred with promotion, especially it takes place in the government jobs. Say, for example, you are in the HDFC Bank branch of Cannot Place, and there is an opening in the Karol Bagh branch, but in a senior cadre. So you are being promoted with and transferred. So in certain cases, if it is a transfer plus promotion, these are the things will take place. Along with that, some responsibilities will also change, but it happens only if there is a promotion. With that, the transfer is taking place. Now, when we talk about completely transfer, it is a movement of employee within the same grade from one job to another, right? Sometimes the company itself they give you the transfer. Sometimes if someone actually requires the transfer, they can also apply for it. Someone is having their marriages, someone is having a different hometown, so in that case they want to work within their hometown. So in that case, they request for the transfers if they have their branch over there. Now, when we talk about transfer, it is not always permanent. It is temporary also. It is on ad hoc basis also. Or sometime a particular employee is being transferred to some other place only because of some reasons, some emergencies, some shortage. And after once the shortage is removed or some time period is done, then that particular employee is again being shifted to their main branch. Now, transfer decisions may be perceived as negative, positive, depending upon the individual personal preferences, needs, and aspiration. Now, whenever a transfer decision is being taken from the employer side, sometimes it has been considered that if some employee is not performing well, then this is the reason why the transfer is taking place. Sometimes it is being taken on a positive end, so it is completely a perception based, right? So transfer by the word itself, it is simply a change in the job workplace of an employee from one place to another without making any change in terms of responsibilities and remunerations. Now, what are the various types of transfers? We have six type of transfers. Start with the very first transfer, that is production transfer. This is a transfer which is done for labor requirements. Now, what is this production transfer is all about? These are the transfers which are usually being done whenever in the organization we have a labor requirement in one division and on the another division we are having excess of manpower, right? So for example, we have two divisions. In one division we are having a shortage of manpower and on the another division we are having an excess of manpower. So what the company can do, the company they actually take some of the employees from that division where we are having an excess of manpower. The main purpose of doing such kind of transfer is to remove layoff that is being done by the organizations if they are having excess of manpower. And the main other purpose is that to maintain a stability at the workplace. So this is the core reason why the production transfer is being done and with this particular purpose. Another transfer is the remedial transfer. Remedial transfer usually take place in case of wrong selection and placement of employees. Sometimes organization they wrongly place an employee to a certain workplace or a wrong candidate is being selected with a wrong job. So once it has been identified during the performance appraisal or after the evaluation of employees, that employee is being transferred to a specified place or a particular division where he is best suited to do that job. So that kind of transfers are known as remedial transfers. Third transfer is the replacement transfer. Replacement transfer is somewhere or the other related to your production transfer. It is a relief from the heavy pressure of work. Sometimes when the labor requirements are declining in a particular department and on another department there is a lot of work pressure the employees they are finding, then in that case also the company they shift those employees to that place where the work is being required. Again, the purpose is stability and reducing the job layoff. The fourth type of transfer is versatility and transfers. It is also known as versatile, means multitasking. Sometimes the companies they transfer their employees just they want to make the employees multitasking. So every time the company they keep on shifting the employees from one job to another so that each one of them they know their work. It is we call them as job rotation as well. So within the same area or the same workplace or in the division, the employees are being shifted from one work or designated job to another so that each one of them they know each one's work in a better way so that the organizational work is not going to get affected. Then is the shift transfer. Shift transfer usually take place when in the organization they are working in 24 hours a day. Like in that case, if we are working to complete 24 hours a day, then in that case we need a shift. So morning, evening, afternoon, like this. So night shifts. So these are the shifts in which the employees are working. Now, shifts transfers are when a particular employees, on the basis of their convenience or on the basis of some request, they are shifting from one shift to another. It is said to be a shift transfer. Right? Sometimes some people are more comfortable in night shifts, some are more comfortable in day shifts or early morning shifts. So, on the basis of their request, they are being, or their own convenience and understandings, they are being shifted from one shift to another. Penalty transfers. The last one is the penalty transfer. Management sometimes they are using these kinds of transfers, uh, we can say as an instrument also, to penalize the employees for doing some kind of indisciplinary activities, some kind of undesirable activities. In this kind of transfers, what usually take place, if a particular employee do some kind of misconduct, some kind of immoral activities he or she is performing, then in that case, in order to give certain kinds of penalty to them, the company they transfer them. Where they transfer them to such a remote areas where no facilities are there, and very far flung areas they are going to provide them. So usually these kinds of transfers are given only when some kinds of penalties should be are imposed on the employees, right? Especially in case of penalty transfers. So these six are said to be the transfers, different types of transfers. Demotion. Demotion means when an employee is moved from one job to another that is lower in pay, responsibility, and in the organizational level is called demotion. Means whenever a particular employee, due to any of the reason we will be discussing it later, is being moved to that particular position which is lower than his present job, it is a case of your vertical movement, but vertical movement in a downward direction. This is a position when, say for example, you are at the managerial level and you are being given a grade of a junior manager to whom you are giving the direction. Now you are the one who is going to take the direction, and in your designation someone else is going to work and he is going to give you the direction, right? So you are moving downward in the designation or in the organizational hierarchy. Your pay scale get reduced down as per the lower designation, and you will move out in the lower in the or down in the organizational level. It is going to have an impact on in your status, obviously. It is going to have an impact in your career prospects also, because and wherever you will be going, every time when we see the growth, we always see that with years to come you are improving and you are moving higher in the hierarchy. But within the same organization, initially you are working on a good profile, and after another year you are working on a lower profile, it gives a very bad impression. And the most importantly, your income of the employee gets affected. Now, demotion is said to be a negative motivation to the employee. Usually, organizations they avoid such kind of things, but in order to sustain or retain the employees in the organization, sometimes they go for the demotions as well. Now, what all are the causes of demotion? Why the demotions occurs in the organization? The very first cause is that employees unable to meet out the job requirements. Incompetence means most of the time, whenever a particular employee is being assigned some kind of task, if he is unable to fulfill those particular uh, requirements, then in that case the organization they don't have any option with them. They can't, they have to take the work from them. thinking about their employees, they can't terminate those employees. Most of the organization, they simply go for termination, not a demotion part. But if the organization, they are thinking about their employees, then in that case they want to maintain a stability of their career. Then in that case they demote them. They demote them to a lower position so that they'll understand the concept in a better manner, so that he can give the justification. Most of the time, when a particular employee, on the basis of their degrees, diplomas, you have been given a good sometimes job on the basis of some experience, also we give them a job, but while seeing your work it is not up to mark. So the organization, they believe that first of all we should demote you so that you learn the basics. You learn the basics and then you will be in the position of directing, right? So that is again one of the reasons that we call it as competence incompetence. Another cause of demotion is that organizations forced to demote employees because of adverse business conditions. Sometimes it also happens with the business that it is not working properly. Like, say, for example, this COVID-19 situation is again that kind of business situation in which most of the organizations, they go for these things, or maximum percentage they are going for terminations, right? So that is again one of the reason through which unwanted conditions of the business, sometimes business is not running smoothly, the business is not getting any profits, only the losses and losses is there. The companies, they believe that we should demote the employees to the lower positions, because for that designation they can't take much employees, so they take a single man who can take. If we are taking 10 managers, we'll take one manager, and for other, if we want to keep those employees in the organization, we just simply demote those employees, because while demoting it, they are there in the organization with less salary packages. Another cause is demotion happening to check their rent employees. Disciplinary measures means most of the times in the organizations, the employees, they misbehave. They do some kinds of illegal acts, sometimes some kind of misconduct at the workplace with the customers, with the product. So many things are there which take place in the organization. So in order to maintain a proper discipline in the organization, they demote such kind of employees as a kind of punishment, so that they can maintain a system in the organization. So these all are the reasons, or we can say the causes for which the demotion is being done in the organization. Separation. Separation is a situation when the service agreement of an employee with his organization comes to an end and the employee leaves the organization. It may happen or may be initiated from both the ends, from the employee angle as well as from the employer angle. Now, separation can take place in an organization for various reasons. Sometimes it is a retirement, sometimes it is a resignation, sometimes it is a dismissal, sometimes it is layoff. So there are so many reasons why the separations take place in the organization. So we'll study first of all what all are the various forms of separation. The very first form of separation is retirement. Now, what is exactly retirement is? Retirement is said to be a very major cause of separation within an organization. It is said to be the termination of services of an employee when they are reaching the age of superannuation. Superannuation is basically there is a certain age period or an age limit that is being defined by the government, right? So, or the government sector, that basically after attaining that particular age, the particular employee is said to be retired. For example, in certain central universities for teachers, there are certain ages 62. Again, it has been revising. So in government, it is sometime it is 60. Then it has been extended to 65. Now, certain age limit that is being defined by the government for the retirement. And once a particular employee, they are reaching that particular stage of retirement, then in that case, that employee is being retired. Now, there are two types of retirement. First is compulsory retirement and another is voluntary retirement. Compulsory retirement means when the employee retire compulsory from the service on achieving the age of superannuation. Means once you are reaching that particular age, say for example the retirement age is 62. If a particular employee is reaching the stage of 62, then the particular individual has to retire because it is the age that he has reached to that particular age. So it is said to be the compulsory retirement, that once a particular employee is reaching that stage, he has to retire from that particular position. Now, what is voluntary retirement? When an organization gives an option to the employee to retire even before the superannuation, is known as voluntary retirement. The scheme of voluntary retirement is also known as VRS, Voluntary Retirement Scheme. Now, in this particular, sometimes the organizations, they encourage the employees to take VRS, because under this VRS you can take the this is the benefit that is being given, in which employee get the voluntary retirement along with the lump sum amount of money. Say for example 2 or 3 years before you can take your retirement on the date of your retirement, and along with this, at the time of the voluntary retirement, you have been given a huge lump sum amount of money. So this particular thing is again being called as a golden handshake. So retirement can be compulsory or it can be voluntary. If it is on time, it is compulsory, and if it is before the date of retirement, it is said to be early the stage of, that is voluntary. Now, second form of separation is resignation. Resignation is the termination of service by an employee by serving a notice. Say for example, an employee, they want to resign, he don't want to work in the organization, or he don't want to continue his services in the organization. Then what they actually do, they serve a notice in the organization specifying a reason why he is leaving the organization. So this kind of resignation is said to be, this is a kind of thing is said to be resignation. Again, the resignation is of two types: voluntary resignation and involuntary resignation. Voluntary resignation means when an employee himself or herself decided to resign on the ground of, sometimes it is a marriage reason, sometimes someone is getting a better growth opportunities outside, sometimes you want to relocate to some new place, family problems. So there are so many reasons due to which you want to leave the organization. So it is said to be a voluntary resignation, because of your own will you want to leave the organization, and for that you are serving a notice. But when I say involuntary resignation, involuntary resignation means where your own will is not there, your employer forces you to resign. The reason may be anything, right? Say for example, due to some disciplinary actions, you have done something wrong in the organization, right? You are have done any misconduct in the organization, or the boss is not liking your work. So many reasons are there, and the boss is telling you to resign because they don't want you in the organization. So you are resigning, but don't want to resign, but on forcefully they are telling you to give the resignation. So it is said to be involuntary resignation. Then the third form of separation is layoff. Layoff means denial of an employment to the employee for reason beyond the beyond the control of the employer, right? Say, for example, in the organization, there is a complete breakdown of machinery. Sometimes in the market, your product is not running well. The demand is going down because of any other circumstances, market conditions. There's a shortage of power, raw material, the resources that we require in order to carry out the production. Again, there's a shortage of such resources. Then the reason will lead to layoff, in which you need to terminate the employees because you don't have the sufficient amount of money in order to take care of those particular employees. Because everything is termination, but at the same time the reasons are different, right? So for example, in layoff, it simply shows that it is a failure or inability of an employer on account of any of the reason, because they don't have the money to pay the employees, they don't have the resources through which they can carry out their business. So how they are going to pay the salaries and wages to their employees? So with this particular reason, it is said to be layoff. Layoff may be temporary, right? And some, the seasonal businesses, they usually carry such kind of layoff, because every time the situations occur, and it becomes permanent also. Once it becomes permanent, then it becomes retrenchment. Retrenchment. Retrenchment simply talks about when in the organization there is a permanent termination of the employee service for any of the economic reasons, like on account of sometimes in the organization we are having a surplus of employees in particular department, right? Sometimes economy is going very down, like this is a particular situation in which there are no chances that in what time period we are going to recover that particular thing. So it's worth noticing that termination of services on account of retirement, winding up of business, illness, or any other disciplinary ground does not constitute retrenchment. Means this simply says that if there is a retirement is there, right? Some employees are ill, right? Some employees has done something wrong. These are not the reasons of retrenchment, right? Retrenchment is actually mainly seen in terms of, food products, manufacturing units, in terms of agricultural services, where you will be finding maximum number of problems in terms of productivity, in terms of deliveries. So the problem is there. So in that particular case, the organizations, they find it quite difficult, and there's a lot of financial loss that the company they face because of the lack of demand in the market. So in that case, they permanently terminate the employees during that particular time for that particular reason. Another is dismissal. Dismissal is again a termination of services because of any punitive measures by the employees. Like, say, for example, sometimes a particular employee has done something unsatisfactory, has shown some unsatisfactory performance, misbehavior at the workplace, unethical things that he or she is performing at the workplace, or sometimes a particular employee is very regularly failure on the part of their performance, what is being expected to them and what is the actual performance they are telling, right? So sometimes what are the organization's rules and regulations are there, if the employee is violating all such rules are there. So in that case, a particular disciplinary committee is being seated, and according to that, they are being asked to serve a notice to explain a particular position or tell, what is the problem. So, initially, before a particular employee is dismissed, he has been asked to, serve a notice to explain his position, because usually it is very much important that when a particular employee is being dismissed or dismissal is done of the employee, So he must know, the reason should be clear in that particular case. So these all are the things that comes under the part of internal mobility and separation.